Ebusuafo me mo bibia kwaba de ba CN page so midin e de adwoa searchim na abofra kete small baby small pikin a onya beye 6 years kra na ende oda social media chese omunum no ho ekekensem na ensem abofra ekenya ne se opa eye omanpani dada John Dramani Mahama chew odinyame ni di me pane chew sre ne papa se osha afe na oba Jama fe kra na class 1 or class 2 a oba onu so bebo ne bra na bofra no chese watete say free education bi aba enti opese free education no okobi enti ene na osre omanpani dada John Dramani Mahama say court nsensem na okọ no twa so na nanadro na MPP for omo embu omo amembu na free SHS no onu so pese onyi na obekobi na adofudie nti abofre ekase nyina ne se yeto aba ewo Ghana hanom 7th December na yeto aba ni we ya Madam Jane Mensa ede nanado ne din beto dwa so no na wanwini no aye nsem bebre ewo Ghana hanom a NDC fo no so omo entiase because omo susu se Madam Jane Mensa na ne nkrofo omo awi aba ne mu ede ama NPP ama yoku no ene ensem de da yeto aba bepeme by this time de bebre na ACC na adofo sa ensemi na ekoso no na NDC fo no so omo entiase nti no demonstrations akese na ekoso na Ghana for HSA 2012 yebeka ya yeto abawie a MPP for omo entom ho ase no omo de asem no court inti adenti na NDC for mususu se aba no omo awie mu ama MPP for amfa moniama anase monsem enkodan court na omo enka emamu ene edidimu sa ne demonstrations ne de omo aye bi papa omo ye ya no hwe amba hwe enfim amba inti de ne se NDC for omo de omo nsem akodan court a omo HSA court NKB emomu because abato na yeto no anye free and fair na enu a na chese ena emu nsem esisi de nsem bebre na eno na abofra kitikite abofra small pikin hwan ne ba a otwa ne sa video ne ba to social media o chese o man pani dada John Dramani Mahama ye pa ucho ye de nyame di msrew se court nsensem na be yanketwa so na wo de wari a gitum se wedding kuku na free SHS na enkoso se na be ya yenso mofra ye ba ye ma me se biobio mu ni bia ye wie JSS ye betumi akọ free SHS free enti na bofre HSS osre omanpani dada John Dramani Mahama say free SHS no opese okobi enti ke be ya court nsensem no ontwa so na dofo yenti nsem abofre e de etudwa
some Mahama jasem ne koko Mahama meso medina kopon pawacho for ni to me meso me de ni die pawacho for ni to me what me papa me slow mami me free education me take to me class din dia do bia di me go school Pentecost International school me fa what ni dia pawacho forget your pia Mahama forget your pia omo di to watam kratie me de na be bua some Mahama jasem ne koko Mahama meso medina kopon pawacho for ni to me meso me de ni die pawacho for ni to me what me papa me slow mami me free education me take to me class din dia do bia di me go school Pentecost International school me fa what ni dia pawacho forget your pia Mahama forget your pia omo di to watam kratie me de na be bua.
Apart from that, if the children are at home, you have to pay money for private teachers to teach them. And one of the teachers told me, he said when the children have sat at home for 3 months, by the time they come to school, what you taught them, they have forgotten. And so you have to spend the next 2 to 3 weeks revising what you taught them before you start teaching them the new syllabus. And so I said, when I come, we'll finish the secondary schools we're building quickly. If we build 200 secondary schools, each of them is capable of accommodating 1,000 students. That will be 200,000 vacancies in secondary school. And so we can spread the children out to all those secondary schools and we'll bring an end to double track. Government is planning and government is common sense. And that is what NDC was doing. We're using planning and common sense. And so we started the free SHS step by step. We started with day students. We said day students don't pay any fees. In the following year, in 2016, we started with some of the boarding students in the poorest districts. And we left office, and the new government came and said they are going to implement it immediately. Today, they say our free SHS is the most expensive in the world. Meanwhile, look at the quality. The quality is going down, it's poor. And that's why NDC is coming to make it better. I said government is like a relay race. All of us were in secondary school, and relay races were some of the sports we enjoyed the most, because one will run with the baton and give it to the next one. The next one too will run and hand it over to the next. And that's what's been happening since 92. Rawlings ran, gave the baton to Kufuor. Kufuor ran, gave the baton to Atamils. Atamils ran, gave the baton to Mahama. Mahama ran, gave the baton to Nana Addo. But then he started running reverse. Instead of running forward, he started running back. So Mahama has to chase him and collect the baton back from him. In the last 4 years, we've all lived in this country. Chief talked about it. Financial institutions closed. It's not that the financial institutions didn't have problems when we were in government. We knew there was a problem. But we realized that the problem was a very complicated one. And so we needed time to resolve it and make sure that you don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. When you bath a baby and the water is dirty, you take the baby out and throw the water away and put the baby back and clean the baby with clean water. But when you go and throw the baby and the water away, what have you achieved? And that's what happened. It needed 9 billion cedis to bail out the financial institutions that they closed down. Instead of investing 9 billion, and it's not money you would have been throwing away, because what we have done is you would have injected 9 billion, taking equity in those financial institutions, and as they become liquid again, you give them back their equity and take your money back. Simple. That's why I said government is common sense. And yet you go and collapse all these financial institutions, and now you owe 22 billion. When you could have used 9 billion to solve a problem, you create the problem, and now you owe 22 billion. And you assured the people of their money. And today they are saying, pay our money. And it's another story. More people have lost their jobs under this government than under any government in the Fourth Republic. All those who were working for microfinance institutions, banks, savings and loans companies that have been closed, today they are all sitting at home. Some have started driving taxis, some are riding Okada, some are roasting sausage and chinchinga. Others have died. And that's the microfinance institutions alone. If you take the construction companies that were given legitimate contracts by government, and this government came and says, we suspended all contracts, all of you stop work. And up to now, work that was done by contractors in 2016, up to now they've not been paid for it. And it's causing financial loss to the state. Because if you don't pay their certificates, there's something they call delayed interest payments. And so all those certificates that government has refused to pay are accumulating delayed payment interest. And so somebody's certificate that was 20 million Ghana cedis that you should have paid, today you owe him 50 million. And so you owe him 70 million. 50 million plus 20 million. 70 million. And government has to find that money. Meanwhile, that 50 million that has come as interest, we could have used it to execute another project. So there is a lot that is wrong with this administration. And And that is why come December 7th, 2020, we must change them and let them go back and sit at home, so that a more competent government can come. Honorable Aveji and Co just left Parliament. They had to walk out of Parliament for a reason. Government has 10% in every gold mining concession in this country. That 10% gives royalties to the chiefs and others in the gold mining areas, and it brings money into the government coffers. You alone, you're going to take that gold royalties and going to create a company in what we call a tax haven, offshore company. And you've mortgaged that gold royalties for 15 years in exchange for $1.5 billion. We have only 3 or 4 months to elections. Why would you be mortgaging this country's gold royalties 3 months to an election to go and collect money and come and spend? And so Aveji and Co said, no, we won't agree. And so they walked out of Parliament and they went ahead and passed it. We don't even know those who are behind the company. And for a responsible government, why do you go and invest in an offshore tax haven where we know that is where fraudulent transactions take place? Up to now, they've not disclosed the shareholders of the company, who are behind the company. And anytime there's corruption, the president clears them. Clearing agents. There are cases at the Office of Special Prosecutor, but they've tied his hands. He can't investigate them. They've stopped him. As long as he's an MPP person, he can't do anything. But all that will change. When NDC comes, we will investigate all outstanding corruption cases. And we were not going to